Hello everyone. This is Col Sanjay Pande again, and with me is Shubhankar,
Hi everyone.
and we are in the seventh episode. Sixth episode onwards, we started talking about credibility, which had four components, which were character, commitment, capability, and contribution. We spoke about the character earlier. In this particular episode, we'll talk about commitment. These four parts that make up credibility, they are absolutely mandatory. And for every individual, if you want to develop your own personality, you have to really pay attention to all these four parts because this is what gets seen by someone else. When we are talking about commitment, so whether it is a personal commitment or whether it is a family commitment or whether it is a professional commitment or it is a commitment to any other person by you, at the core of commitment is sincerity. And you would know whether you want to do that job or not. So, what you are inside and what you display outside are absolutely two different things. While you want to show to the world that you are committed, in your heart you know you are not. With this as the backdrop, I will first ask Shubhankar to share his experience, his thought, or whatever he thinks about commitment, say as a child, as a student, as a uh, person who was working in a MNC, or otherwise, overall life. Yeah, Shubhankar.
So for me, really, the first time I can think that I really felt that my commitment was tested was in class 12th. Class 12th was a period where I just went into a hole. For one entire year, I would wake up at 4:45 a.m. by the clock. I would study for an hour or so, go to school, come back, tuitions, come back, study again, go to bed by 9:30, and it was just following that regimented routine like a clockwork. Monday to Saturday, Sundays were the only days I slept in. That really tested my commitment to the limit. But the thing is that over time, having gone through that really tough 1 year, uh, very early on in my life, I realized that there are going to be many more periods like this. So the second time this happened to me was when I joined when I joined this company, and I was so overwhelmed with the amount of work, with the dynamism of the work, that I felt my commitment being pushed to the breaking point. I felt like I just have no time for anything else in my life. My personal life was short, so all I did 24/7 was work or be thinking about work. So that was commitment for me. I had for the better part of the last 3 years, I've had no social life. I've not gone out with friends. I've just been in a hole working and improving my skill set. And so now when I get back in touch with my friends, they're like, where have you been for
Yeah,
the last
actually,
three
you can
years?
always tell out of 3 years, 2 years were taken by COVID. So don't blame that on me at least.
Uh, yeah, I mean, I could, but then that's not truly authentic and honest. Um, and also, they know like generally where I've been, so I can't really lie about that. That would be funny though, sir. Lying about this after the 6 episodes that we have put out. So anyway, I've just been, like I said, I've just been in a hole for the last 3 years, working just head down and working and learning, implementing, learning new skill sets. Because this is what I felt that I needed to focus on for the last 3 years. So this was commitment for me, that I just decided the day I resigned from my previous job that I was going all in, that the next 3 years of my life I would spend trying to become an entrepreneur. And if at the end of those 3 years I realized that I was not cut out for it, then fine, at least I tried. But I was not going to half ass it. And commitment for me just meant cutting out everything extraneous that I could afford to cut out. For that, for a lot of people, making the same choices as me would not be correct. So it's a personal thing. What commitment means to you may not mean the same thing to me. For me, though, it simply meant going all in, going into a hole. My parents, my close friends, my girlfriend, they all suffered because I decided to go down this path. But it was something that had to be done, and that, so really, yeah, that's what commitment means to me. That if you decide to do something, you go all in. You don't half-ass it.
Commitment to me, yeah, fine, at his age and the stage of life he is in, that is what he feels about what commitment is. To me, commitment is much bigger than this, much bigger than this. When it comes to me reading other people, when it comes to a senior reading a junior, or when it comes to a junior reading a senior, any person for that matter, if you are reading someone, you actually come to know about the commitment of other person through the character. So I always talk about these being in absolute strict seniority. Character is absolutely at number one. It's only when you find it fine do you check for commitment in that person. Once you know that the commitment is there, then you look at his current capability and his skill, upskilling him for future employment. And last, having done all these three, you see his contribution. So these come in very strict order. The problem with commitment is that what you see with your eyes may not be true. You may think of a person having high character, which may be a facade, a successful facade, which you don't even read correctly, and you actually take it as reality. But when you look at a person and his commitment, and then you start having doubts, that's the time you start again re evaluating his character. Probably you had gone wrong. And once you know and you again re establish everything, including his character, all over again, you review it, and very slowly over a period of time, you will realize that probably you had gone wrong. That's why he does not have commitment. Whereas a person with a very strong, confirmed positive character requires just a small nudge to be committed. Just a small nudge is sufficient for him. He may not know what he has to do. So you guide him and he does it. Shubhankar is sitting with me. Once I was very, very confident about his character traits, and then I saw his commitment. Commitment is when you are performing without supervision, when you are performing in anticipation, when you are performing not to be seen by your superior. You are performing because there is a task to do. You are finding out better ways to do it. And you are exhausting every possible way to do it before you turn back to the boss and say, no, I can't do this. So, for a person with a strong character, a positive character, commitment comes naturally. That's a natural flow. If he's not there, you simply have to push. But when you find a person who you think actually is of good positive character, but in no way can you make him work, or you see him only performing when you're around, or he is only performing to impress you, or he's doing all his jobs, which you later come to know that he's making his subordinates do it. So obviously there is a flaw in character.
Hmm.
This is how you
Do you think that translates to personal life as well, sir?
Absolutely.
Like people don't who like slack at work or make their subordinates do their job and then pass it off as their own to their
Absolutely.
boss.
What did I say? When you talk about commitment, at the core is sincerity.
Hmm.
So that core remains insincere, whether your job is professional or otherwise.
Yeah.
So at the core is sincerity. So if you are an extremely sincere person, automatically you will be committed. But you may not know how to translate that into commitment, for which you require a small nudge. So sincerity comes in because your character is strong. So these are interrelated. I have brought down this entire person and personality just to total 8 traits, and absolutely in a graded manner in 2 blocks. The first block being the character, the 4 pillars, and the second block being credibility, which has got another 4. You join all these 8 together and just put some more padding, and you have a fantastic personality. The problem is that we play with the order. It's so often heard in corporate. So what here if he's playing with money here and there? At least he gets the orders.
Hmm.
What's this language? This means you as a head, you compromise with the character. You are okay with a person cheating. You're okay with a person playing with your money. You are accepting this nonsense because he gets order. What's the difference between you and him? You're same. So that's the difference.
Yeah.
So at core, so if you are not committed, so this means you are insincere, and insincerity doesn't see whether you are working or whether you are in a personal bind somewhere.
Yeah.
So you are going to be like that. That is what commitment is. There are two things I'll talk about commitment. Examples. People always say, ki, why don't you give an example to tell us what commitment is? I told you one about Shubhankar, which I have been seeing all this while. And from his character, how he has come to commitment and the way he has been working. And maybe at time, I have never even got after him. But if he says for 3 years he has been working in a whole year, I've been seeing it. So that is the commitment that he has got. There are two more things. I retired in 2006 and I get my pension. I'm called a ex-serviceman. My contract with the army finished the day I crossed that gate and I hung up my uniform. My entire commitment to the Indian army finished that day, right? So with that everything finished. So I'm actually a civilian with no commitment at all. But then I had spent all those previous 25, 26 years in my unit, going in and out, but with the same men. People who had joined with me, they were getting promoted up to Havaldar and retiring. So, over a period of 20, 25 years, the type of bonding I had with my men, I left army, and after a couple of years, I just wanted to meet few of them. So, my wife always used to be with me. So, we just picked up our vehicle in Delhi and we went to Himachal to meet 2, 3 people. And when we went there, so from there we came to know another 2, 3 people who lived nearby. And thereafter, the trip started. Today is 15 years. It is about twice at least per year. There are a couple of years, thrice in a year. I meet on an average 400 to 500 veterans of my unit. Over a course of say 2 years, I meet all of them. I meet 100% widows of my unit whose children are still studying. I take care of their education, their expenditure, their performance, their schools, everything. Who is asking me to do it? Am I getting paid for it? Is someone writing my confidential report? Is someone giving me any numbers for it? Is someone giving me any award for it? There is absolutely nothing. I do it because I want to. I do it because I feel like. I do it because I'm committed towards them. So when we say commitment, it has to come from within. Whether it is for the organization you are working for, whether it is your household, whether it is a cause, whether it is your people, it has to come from within. It cannot be forced down. Commitment cannot be at someone else's cost. The cost has to be yours. You pay cost for that commitment.
Yeah.
Someone else will not pay. So when a manager sits till 10 o'clock in the night and gives an impression to the boss that the entire team is working, whereas he knows it's because of him. And it is he who is making the entire team sit there so that he does not have to look down next day. So the boss says, oh my God, this guy is committed. No, he isn't. So this is how you talk about commitment, and how does it now add to one fourth of your credibility?
Yeah.
So your credibility, one fourth was taken up by character, one fourth was taken up by commitment. Now imagine one of these two pieces missing. Can your circle be complete of credibility? It cannot be. And that leaves the other two now. The next being the capability, and the last is contribution, right? So these two we are going to talk later. Now, again, like I said in the last video, I will again repeat something in this video. 7 of these and 2 introductory, total 9 videos so far. They have to be seen in absolute strict seniority. Intro 1, Intro 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is the 7th. You want to find out how your organization is. It may be corporate, it may be government, it may be a training institution, it may be anything. If the head of that institution is so confident about his character, about his leadership, all he needs to do is to make the entire lot which is under him sit in an auditorium. He should sit there himself and play all these videos in line, one after the other. You require tremendous amount of character to sit through, and you cannot if you do not have this in you.
Yeah.
And this is as true for government servants, as true for bureaucrats, as much true for military, as much true for educational institutions, anyone for that matter.
And as much true for your personal life as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So it stands everywhere. Who has got courage to see all of these and still be sitting in front of his own subordinates over whose lives he presides? It takes courage. And if someone sits through without even doubt, any doubt in life, accept him as a leader. If there is someone who can see all through these videos, it's not that easy, let me tell you. So here we can finish this commitment part.
Yeah.
Right, Shubhankar, anything you want to say?
No, sir, I think you pretty much summed it up very, very nicely. Commitment, yes, it means much, much more as you grow up, as you have responsibilities, as you see life. But definitely for each and every person, it simply means, I would say, the starting point is sincerity, as you say, and you have to accept what is your responsibility. So just think of what am I responsible for today? Am I shirking my responsibility if I am not fully committing to it? And that's it. There are a lot of people that give themselves a rationale and say that fine, it's my responsibility, but I'll shirk it. It's probably going to be fine, and that's where the lack of commitment comes in.
Absolutely. So with this, we will wrap this episode up. In the next one, we'll take up the
Capability part.
capability part,
Yeah.
and we'll discuss capability in detail, followed by contribution. And once we have discussed all these 4, we will also have a wrap up of first these 4, and then within that, we will combine the earlier part of the character, the 4 episodes, these 4 episodes of C's, and just see how a rounded personality can be made. Right?
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being with us. This is Colonel Sanjay Pande saying bye, and Shubhankar. Bye bye.